Each evening, when the moon shone bright over the palace, silence filled every corner. The big wooden door to where the 12 princesses slept was secured with a strong lock that nobody could open. Nobody was allowed inside, and certainly, nobody could get out. Yet when morning came, something strange would happen once more. Something that puzzled everyone in the land. All 12 pairs of the princess's shoes looked destroyed and used up, like the girls had been dancing for many hours without stopping. This didn't happen just once or twice. Every single day when the sun rose, the shoes looked damaged, marked, and falling apart, as though they had been used on rough ground through the night. The palace guards felt confused. The kingdom's magician had no answers. Citizens started talking quietly and wondering what was happening. Perhaps there's a hidden passage beneath the palace. Maybe the young women are meeting people after dark. Or perhaps some kind of enchantment is taking place that nobody can understand. The ruler felt upset, concerned, and exhausted from this puzzle. He needed answers at any cost. Finally, he made an important announcement.
Anyone who discovers the truth behind this shoe mystery may marry whichever princess he chooses, and one day he will rule this kingdom after me.
Word traveled fast, and countless brave men started imagining how they could solve this unusual puzzle about the 12 princesses. Ever since the ruler made his offer known, hundreds of men visited the palace. Warriors wearing bright armor, wealthy gentlemen, and even royal sons from other lands, all came feeling sure of themselves. Everyone thought they could easily solve what seemed like a simple mystery. They all believed they would be the champion who found out why the princess's shoes kept getting worn out. But then, one night went by, and another, and one more. Yet nobody was successful. Each man promised he had remained alert throughout the night, watching the princess's door without resting his eyes at all. Still, every sunrise brought the same result. All 12 pairs of shoes looked damaged again, marked, torn, and totally ruined. Like always, the ruler couldn't make sense of it. The guards were baffled. People throughout the kingdom started thinking something unnatural was going on inside the palace. Stories grew bigger every day. Some believed it was sorcery. Others thought a spell had been cast. The ruler grew more frustrated and upset, but he couldn't take back the promise he had made publicly. The young man arrives. Just when everything seemed hopeless, a young fellow arrived at the city entrance. He had no fine horse, no shining armor, and no important family name. He was simply a regular boy, with a friendly appearance, clear eyes, and a calm sense of confidence.
I wish to attempt this challenge.
Nobody realized that his journey would reveal a secret much stranger than anyone could have guessed. The guards chuckled, assuming he was just another silly boy. But the ruler, feeling desperate and running low on options, chose to let him try. While traveling to the palace, the young fellow noticed an elderly woman seated beside the pathway. She had white hair, a frail and weary body, and knowing eyes that seemed to look deep into his soul.
Young man, could you spare me something to eat? I haven't eaten in a long time.
The young fellow didn't pause. He opened his bag and handed her everything he had brought. He kept nothing for himself. The elderly woman looked at him for a long time, as though she had been expecting exactly him to pass by.
You're not like the other people who have walked past me.
Then she reached into her worn basket and brought out a special garment. It appeared old and plain, but felt as light as air and strangely full of power.
Here, take this. When you put on this garment, nobody will be able to see you. Use it when the clock strikes 12, and quietly go into where the princesses sleep. You'll witness things that nobody else has witnessed. But listen carefully. Don't drink a single drop of anything the princesses offer you. Not even the smallest sip.
The young fellow felt amazed and grateful. He bowed low to the elderly woman and held the garment with great care. For the first time, he felt real hope growing inside him. His true journey was just starting. That evening, the young fellow officially started his mission. The door to where the 12 princesses stayed closed firmly, and the heavy lock clicked shut.
I just need to remain awake until midnight. I simply need to watch how they leave this locked room.
His chest was pounding, and his hands trembled slightly. Soon after, the door cracked open slightly. The eldest princess came out, appearing sweet and caring. She carried a glass with pale yellow liquid inside.
You look exhausted. We made some juice to help keep you alert.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
The young fellow suddenly recalled the elderly woman's warning. Never drink anything the princesses offer you. She seemed so innocent, so courteous. Wanting to show good manners, he took the glass. He drank one small amount, then another. Within moments, his eyes felt impossibly heavy. His body felt powerless, as though everything was turning around him. He attempted to grab the garment, tried to get up, but everything went dark. That evening, he slept soundly until daybreak. When he woke, the 12 pairs of shoes looked worn down once more, exactly like before. His spirit dropped. He had no words. He now understood clearly he had failed, and the elderly woman's words were more important than he had realized. On the second evening, he told himself he wouldn't fall for the trick again.
I wouldn't fall for the
He
trick
stood
again.
firmly before the princess's door, keeping away from it. But this time, the 6th princess showed up. She held a glass of sugary orange liquid, whose scent spread through the whole corridor. He felt uncertain,
You
but he
appear
felt
tired.
parched,
One drink.
very
Just
parched.
one small drink.
At last, he took a drink. And once more, he fell into a deep slumber, even stronger than the previous night. When his eyes opened the following morning, he felt without hope. The shoes were destroyed again. Right then, the ruler walked into the room. His expression was strict and weary. The ruler wasn't furious.
2 nights have gone
He was
by.
let down.
If you don't solve this mystery
And that
tonight, you will
made the
receive
young
the
fellow
same
feel
punishment
even
as
more
everyone
terrible.
else.
After the ruler departed, he sat silently, thinking about the elderly woman's wise gaze and the garment in his bag. When the sun dropped below the horizon, he got ready carefully. He stood before the princess's room again, chest
This is
racing,
my last chance.
but eyes
I
filled
can't miss
with
it.
determination.
I must not fall for any
The
trick
last
today.
night had arrived, and this time he would stay alert no matter what happened. The third evening finally came. The palace was extremely quiet. It seemed like the entire castle was waiting silently to see what would occur.
This is my last
The young
chance.
fellow stood
I
before
can't
the
miss it.
princess's room
I must not fall for
with the
any
invisible
trick today.
garment in his grasp. The elderly woman had cautioned him multiple times. When the clock rang 12 times, the door opened slowly. The youngest princess walked out. She held a silver plate with a glass of orange
You've
drink.
been standing guard all
She
evening.
smiled gently,
Please drink this so you
but
won't
her
feel
eyes
thirsty.
were observant, as though she was examining him. The young fellow accepted the glass politely. But this time, he simply nodded his thanks. He didn't drink even one drop. When she returned inside and shut the door, he quickly emptied the entire drink into a clay container sitting close by. He knew he couldn't allow anything to make him drowsy this evening. The moment had come. He placed the invisible garment across his shoulders. A cool sensation spread across his body, like a gentle breeze. Then, he vanished entirely. When he glanced down, he couldn't see his own arms. He was hidden from view. Discovering the secret door, he pushed the princess's door open, very gently. Inside, all 12 princesses were getting prepared. They were chatting happily while wearing gorgeous new gowns and sparkling new shoes. They appeared like they were getting ready for the most wonderful celebration in the entire world.
We need to get ready
Another
quickly
princess
so we
pressed her
don't be
ear against the
late.
wall to confirm no noise came from outside. Hearing silence, the young fellow quickly made loud sleeping sounds from the corridor. The princesses grinned, believing he had fallen asleep again. Then, the eldest princess stepped toward her bed. She touched the frame
Woke it up.
and tapped 3 times.
Girls, follow me.
Suddenly, the ground moved gently. The bed slid to one side on its own, and beneath it, a dark opening showed itself. A hidden passage. A long set of stairs went deep below the ground. Even though the elderly woman had mentioned it, the young fellow was still shocked. He had never witnessed anything like this. The 12 princesses walked down one after another, their gowns flowing behind them.
I can't believe how magical this forest
The young
is.
fellow followed at a safe
Our
distance,
gowns are
being careful
sparkling
not to
just
bump
like
into
the
anyone.
trees. This orb
The
is
staircase
incredible.
wound down
Everything
for
is
such a long
sparkling.
time
It's the most
that it
beautiful
seemed like they
place
were
I've
going
ever
into a
seen.
different realm.
Let's go.
At the end of the stairs, the young fellow gasped. Before him was the most enchanting forest he had ever laid eyes on. The trees stood tall and straight, and their leaves were created from brilliant silver. When the moonlight hit them, the entire forest appeared to glow. It was like entering a fantasy. The young fellow quickly picked a silver leaf and saved it as evidence. The princesses kept walking until they came to a clear, broad river. Floating on the water were 12 lovely swan-shaped boats. Each boat was controlled by a young prince. When the princesses climbed onto the boats, the princes bowed respectfully. The young fellow jumped onto the final boat just in time. The boat moved smoothly across the river, bringing them to a brilliant, glowing castle.
This is odd. The boat seems heavier this evening.
You're seeing things that aren't there.
The dancing castle, the mystery solved. Music echoed in the air. Happy sounds rang through the halls. It was an exciting celebration, filled with dancers and stunning outfits. As soon as they walked into the ballroom, the 12 princesses started to dance. They danced and danced, without becoming tired. Their new shoes scraped against the floor repeatedly. The young fellow could watch the shoes getting damaged, bit by bit. Now he finally knew why their shoes were ruined every morning. He observed carefully from the edge of the room, remembering every single detail. After some time, he began to feel quite hungry, so he quietly
my cake
stretched
is
out
moving on
and
its
took a piece of
own.
cake from the table. The cake
You're
appeared to
always
float in
imagining
midair.
things.
The young fellow smiled behind his invisible garment. It was functioning
Truly is
perfectly.
the best feast I've ever attended.
The princesses danced until the sky started to grow lighter. Their shoes were now completely worn, nearly torn apart.
Look at my shoes. They're completely worn out.
Only then did they finish and go back to the boats. The boats brought them back across the river, through the silver forest, up the long winding stairs, and at last into their room, just as though they had never left. The young fellow followed them the entire way, carrying two crucial pieces of proof: a silver branch from the magical forest and a golden cup he had taken from the castle. Nobody could question the truth now. The secret of the princess's nighttime activities was finally uncovered. When the sun started to appear behind the tall palace walls, the young fellow walked silently back to his own room. After 3 nights filled with risk and secrets, he finally understood the truth that so many people before him couldn't find. In his hands, he held a shining golden cup and a soft silver branch. These were the clear proof of the magical realm beneath the castle. Later that morning, when the sun was overhead, the ruler came into the young fellow's room, just as he had said he would.
3 days have
ruler
gone
appeared
by.
serious
Will you share the
and
secret with
exhausted.
me now, or have you
The
failed
young
like
fellow
everyone else?
lowered his
Your
head
Majesty.
respectfully,
I have discovered
but
the
his
truth.
voice was steady and sure. Then he explained everything he had witnessed: the secret opening beneath the bed, the long stairs, the silver forest, the swan boats, and the bright castle where the princesses danced through the night. The ruler's eyes widened with astonishment. He had never trusted in magic before, but the young fellow spoke with such precision and truthfulness that it was impossible to question him. And when the young fellow displayed the silver branch and the golden cup, the ruler knew the tale was
Bring
genuine.
all princesses to the palace hall immediately.
Confronting the princesses. Right away, the ruler summoned his 12 daughters. The princesses entered looking anxious. Their shoes were still worn from the long night of dancing. When they noticed the objects in the ruler's hands, the silver branch and the golden cup,
golden glass
their expressions
silver
changed.
leaves come from?
They understood the truth, couldn't stay hidden any longer. The eldest princess moved forward and lowered her head. The ruler didn't yell. He didn't punish them harshly. Instead, he breathed out deeply, filled with sadness.
As I gave my word, you may select one of my daughters to become your bride.
But also understanding. Then the ruler faced the young fellow. The young fellow looked at the princesses. He had spent 3 nights observing them and learning about their personalities. In his heart, he respected the youngest princess
Your
the most.
Majesty,
She was gentle.
I
caring,
choose the
and
youngest
truthful.
princess.
Even though she had participated in the secret, she always appeared a bit guilty every time she deceived him. The youngest princess's cheeks turned pink, but she smiled softly and agreed. She also admired him. She valued his courage, his patience, and his good heart, especially after he had forgiven her for tricking him during the first 2 nights. The ruler was happy with their decision. A magnificent wedding took place in the castle. Music echoed through the halls. Flowers adorned the walls, and the whole kingdom rejoiced. The ruler felt proud. The citizens were cheerful, and the youngest princess was delighted to marry someone brave and kind. Following the wedding, The secret passage beneath the bed was closed forever, so nobody could use it again. And the tale of the young fellow and the 12 dancing princesses became one of the most cherished legends in the kingdom. The story of the 12 dancing princesses shows us something valuable. Every secret will eventually come to light, and being truthful is always the right path. It also shows us that kindness has value. Because the young fellow helped the elderly woman on the road, he received the magical garment that let him discover the truth. His generous spirit brought him an opportunity nobody else had. When we live with kindness and honesty, good fortune will find us, even when we least expect it. Thank you for listening this story to the end. Your interest gives me the energy to share more beautiful and meaningful tales. If you liked this one, please remember to like, share, and follow so you don't miss future episodes. See you in the next story.